Do you feel like every conversation with your husband turns to an argument, um, most times than not? And when that does happen, do you find that it leaves you and your husband both hurt and maybe at least you because you're watching this? And also, do you also feel distant, creates more distance that's already possibly there in the relationship? Now, if you've been longing for peace and connection, but don't know where to start because you may have tried in your mind everything that you possibly could try. It doesn't seem like nothing is working. So you don't know where else to start. Well, let me just say that you're in the right place and you're watching the right video. You couldn't have chosen a better video to watch than this one. See, I know what it's like to feel frustrated and stuck. This is a feeling that most people have had at some point in different relationship context or even work context of some kind, right? So we are all used to the frustrating feelings and sometimes stuck feelings, but there's something different, as you know, about what that looks like in a marriage, in your relationship. It is really, let me just sound very redundant here. It is frustrating, right? Now, here's the thing I do would almost say, and I don't know you, but for the people that I've worked with and talked with, for the most part, as a wife, you love your husband. And that's why you even are watching this video to figure out what else can I do. But it feels like every time you try to talk, the distance between you grows, right? It tends to expand the distance that's already there. You want things to change, but nothing you've tried up to this point seems to work. It's a lonely place. You may have tried counseling, listening to podcasts, bought, bought all the books. I'm sorry for that. Bought all the books, did all the different things you've been told, coaching, and all those things are good. I'm glad that you're doing those things. And so, but here's what happened. You still haven't found anything that has worked. Nothing you've tried seems to work. And it's a lonely place to be. But you don't have to stay in that lonely place. And that's why you're watching this video. I'm going to tell you how to basically change what you're experiencing in this video. Now, I'm Kingsley Grant. If you are here for the first time, a licensed marriage and family therapist and certified relationship coach. Over the past 2 decades, I've worked with countless couples who felt disconnected and stuck in cycles of conflict in their own relationship. But I've also lived some of that myself as an entrepreneurial husband, married for, as of this recording, almost 40 years, 4 decades. So I know how easy it is to get caught up in life's demands and unintentionally, and I want to put that there as a husband, neglect the emotional connection in the marriage. I know firsthand. I've had my share of that. I've been called out on that in different ways over the years. The thing that has changed everything for me, though, and still does, and for the couples I've worked with, was anchoring my actions in biblical principles. Now, maybe you may say, well, Kinsey, I've done that, and or maybe you don't subscribe to that. Well, I do know that this does work. So if you don't subscribe, then I don't know what else to say because I do know it works, and you're going to find out. And I hope you do listen to the end and see where I'm coming from. I found that it's the fastest and most impactful way to restore connection, rebuild trust, and experience the kind of marriage God designed for you and that your heart longs for. So, because you're here, and if that's the case, well, is it any wonder that you're not getting what is you're looking for? Could it be that this is a missing ingredient that may have been overlooked. I've met so many wives just like you who've shared and how they've felt in their relationship unseen and unheard. And that's many times why they come and seek out my help. They've tried everything, being patient, talking things out, even sometimes giving up, just throw their hands up in the air and just don't even want to bother anymore. But nothing seemed to make a lasting difference. Over time, that frustration turns into hurt, and that hurt creates, guess what? More distance. And if you have ever, or at this moment going through that, you know exactly what it is I'm talking about. And when your husband seems focused on everything but the marriage, your relationship, it's easy to feel like you're carrying the weight of the marriage alone. And I cannot argue with that feeling. No one should and can, or let me just put it, I can't say no one can because some people do, but I think it's hard to not see why you would feel that way. That's where I think one of the things about me and my work and my experience, both personally and professionally, I get it. And I personally can see why you would feel that way. But here's the truth. Small changes can lead to big transformation. And it starts with a different approach. Wouldn't you agree with that? Because if we keep on doing the very same thing we always done, why would we expect different results? You know what that's called, right? Insanity. And so one of my things that I tend to say many times to my at different times to a couple or to a spouse, I would say, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So we've got to change some things. Now, hey, by the way, if this is resonating with you so far, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate that. And as you know, and we'll see, I share practical faith-based tips in these videos to help wives like you create happier, stronger, and much longer lasting marriages. So I would strongly urge you to go ahead. If you have not yet subscribed, to please subscribe to the channel right now. I thank you so much for that. And if what you're hearing resonates, also hit that thumbs up button. And again, I would really appreciate that. So thank you for even doing that. But I want you to know, dear wife, I want you to know this. I understand this struggle because I've seen it firsthand, both in my own marriage of, as I mentioned, close to 4 decades, and as a therapist and a coach, helping couples navigate these changes, these challenges. I've seen it. I've taught to them. I have felt their pain and as they pour out their hearts. So I've seen it firsthand, up close and personal, right at the front row seats, so to speak, of the life they're living. I've been called in to be a part of that, to help them navigate those moments. And early in my career, I worked with couples, some who were on the brink of losing not just their marriages, but their sense of self and purpose. And you know that happens so easily. I've cannot tell you the amount of spouses I've spoken to, mainly wives. I've heard the husband here and there, but mainly wives who have said, Kingsley, I've lost myself. I don't even know who I am anymore. I've lost that. I'm just tired. They'll say, I'm just tired. And what stood out to me were the wives who loved their husbands deeply, but felt invisible and emotionally drained. And that might be you. That might be how you're feeling right now. You say, Kingsley, that's me. I'm just emotionally drained. I am tired. I get it. So what I began to notice though is a pattern, especially among the wives of entrepreneurial husbands. I began to notice this pattern. These wives, like yourself, often carried the emotional weight of the marriage while their husbands were focused on building the side business, working on the side hustle. Because in his mind, his way of communicating that he wants what's best for the family. He really wants things to be better. And that's how he's communicating that. But you're feeling something different, right? So these wives that I've worked with weren't just looking for solutions to problems. They were looking for someone to truly see them, hear them, and understand their unique struggles. And that's why I think, because of the work that I've done and so many wives I've spoken to, and having one myself, I think that's what positioned me to be so effective and helpful in this area. Because again, I think I can speak for a husband like yours, but also a wife like mine. And that's why I have developed uh, frameworks that I use today. Simple, Christ-centered strategies that speak directly to your heart as a wife while honoring God's design for marriage. It's not just about conflict resolution or effective communication, as important as they are, but it's about building a stronger, more joyful connection that lasts. And the Christ centered solution, as I've mentioned, it begins with embracing the mind of Christ. Philippians 2, verse 5 reminds us, it says, in your relationships with one another, have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, the same mindset as Christ Jesus. There's something to be said about this because this means approaching conflict with humility, love, and a desire for restoration, right? Which includes forgiveness. It includes in honor, preferring one another, and so on. Not just trying to win the argument. I've said to spouses many times, even as recent days, as of this recording, I said to one spouse, I said, so what I'm hearing you're saying is that you want to win. You at least you feel like you need to win something now because in their mind, the other spouses seem to be using that, and they feel like they're not heard, they're not seen, and to be heard and to be seen means that they have to win something. I said, well, if you focus on winning, the chance is you may never get a satisfied outcome because if your spouse also is, then what's going to happen, right? So here's why this approach of a Christ-centered mindset or the mind of Christ, why it works, right? The old way, without the mind of Christ, what it tend to do, it often leads to defensiveness, harsh words, criticism, outburst, unkind words, name calling, emotional shutdowns, breaking trust over time, and on it goes. That's what the old way, without the mind of Christ, tend to be. The new way, right? Grounded in biblical principles, when a person truly embraces it, truly embraces and as a start, it transforms conflict into opportunities for growth and understanding. For example, instead of saying to your husband, you never spend time with me, right? Because the moment he hears that, the word never, I tell couples many times, one of the things you want to do to get rid of out of your vocabulary is words like never, always, every time, everyone, those extreme words, because it's not true that that is the case, right? So the moment you say you never spend time with me, not only does that create immediately a defensive posture, I would want to suggest that try saying something like, honey, I really miss spending time with you. Can we plan something soon? That small shift, it makes all the difference. Now, I've had couples when I've suggested this sometimes will say to me, Kingsley, I we don't talk that way. That's not how we talk in our house. I said, well, could it be that that might be one of the reasons you're having this ongoing conflicts you're telling me about? Could that be? So you might be thinking, but Kingsley, I've already tried being patient and it didn't work. I hear you. It's exhausting. Like I mentioned before, frustrating is exhausting when you feel like you're the only one making an effort. But this isn't about ignoring your feelings or pretending everything is fine. It's about equipping you with the tools that honor your emotions while promoting a deeper connection with your husband. Change starts with one small step. And that's what I'm here to guide you in. That's one small step. And so here's one simple, small step, right? Simple way you can state how that would look today, right? You can take today. Here's just a small thing you could do. Practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Proverbs 16:24 says, gracious words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healing to the bones. Gracious words, gratitude. So each day this week, I want you to experiment with this. Now, I know this may be it may take you a bit to do this, right? It may you have pulled deep from deep within. I want you to thank your husband for something he's done, no matter how small, no matter how small. So Ken said, well, shouldn't he thank me? Yes, he should. I don't want to, in a way, make it sound like he should not do this as well. But remember, I'm speaking to you. You're the one who's seeking change. You're the one who wants a different relationship. And I tell my clients many times, change starts with the one who has come seeking change. So I want you to be proactive. Lead the way in this. Thank your husband for something he's done, no matter how small. Find that one thing. You may have to take a deep breath and look and ask God to give you the grace to communicate that. You know, in one of the frameworks that I teach, I talk about embrace it, express it, and embody it. This is how you'll be expressing this space. Gratitude has a way of softening hearts and opening doors for connection. Would you agree? Gratitude, yeah, it has a way of softening hearts, but it also opened the doors for connection. It may feel awkward at first, and if it doesn't feel awkward, you probably aren't doing it right. It should feel awkward, but consistency matters, right? Over time, it becomes easier and easier. Now, here are some things I want you to remember from this video that you've watched. Three takeaways. Number one, conflict doesn't have to drive you apart. It can truly bring you close. Secondly, anchoring in biblical principles transforms how you communicate. And third, gratitude and kindness create an atmosphere where connection thrive. And I want to reassure you and tell you something that I believe you, hopefully you've heard and understand from this video. You're not alone in this journey. God designed your marriage for joy and intimacy and partnership. And he's here with you every step of the way. Now, are you ready to take that next step? First of all, I want you to experiment with that gratitude idea. But secondly, I want you to download it, this guide I mentioned earlier, A Christian Wife's Guide to a Happier Marriage. It's a free resource and it's packed with practical tools to help you build a stronger connection with your husband. And don't forget to subscribe for more faith-based marriage tips if you have not yet hit that subscribe button right there. And thank you for doing that. Now, you don't have to fight for love, dear wife. It's already there. Psalm 127, verse 1 says, unless the Lord builds a house, the builders labor in vain. So let God build your marriage into something extraordinary and let Him use you. He wants to use you. Let Him use you to accomplish this. In the next video, I'll share how to get your husband to open up without pushing him away. You don't want to miss that, as you can imagine. And so that's why you want to subscribe and also share this video. So I want to thank you for watching and listening. God bless you as you work toward a happier, stronger marriage. And make sure you watch this other video you see right here. Okay, watch this other video right here and share this and that one with at least one other person. You could also take a snapshot of the screen and post on Instagram and tag me, right? Tag me at Kingsley Grant. I would really love to engage with you by tagging me there. Okay, I would look forward to that. So with that said, my friend, God bless you. And may He give you His peace, His grace, His love, His joy, His power to do this very thing I'm asking. So I'll see you on the next video. See you next time. God bless.